Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. It is November 23rd, 2024, Saturday. I'm Doug. This is Matt, and joining us today is Constance Victoria Briggs. That's a take two since I flubbed it the first time. How's it going, Constance?
It's doing great, guys.
Thanks.
How are you having me on?
Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. We have our author. Why don't you tell us, it's been 8 months, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
8 months. Wow, it feels like a little longer. So I am an author, researcher on many topics, but these days I'm focusing on galactic mysteries and galactic history. How the idea of there being life in the universe other than us, intelligent life, affects us all. That's what I'm focusing on.
Awesome. How many books do you have?
6, and I would like to have more.
Is this your, I don't know, I hate to say a regular job, but is this what you do for a living as your author?
Yeah, so that is what I do. Yes, I don't know about for a living because authors don't get rich from this. It's
Right.
usually you're writing from the heart, so I kind of rely on my husband's salary. But yeah, this is my passion. This is what I do, and it makes me very happy. I just want to help with the understanding for people that we're not alone in the universe. We never have been. With all of the UFOs or UAPs or whatever you're calling them these days, and as well as USOs, with all that's going on out there, I wanted to help people understand what's happening, have some knowledge about it, because it's a huge subject, especially right now with the Senate hearings, et cetera, which we can get into. I have kind of made it my mission to kind of educate people on this topic.
Well, it's pretty mainstream now. I mean, remember about 10 years ago, we'd be called the tinfoil hatters.
We still are.
I own it.
Yeah.
I own it.
But I'm not scared. I have a regular job I have to do, and my boss, the owner of the company, they all know that I do this. And most people now if you ask them, including my wife, if you ask them about the phenomena, they will say, well, there's got to be, they've never seen anything. I haven't seen anything either. But they just say, there's got to be something out there. Before it was like, no, nobody wanted to believe.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot, it's a lot more popular. So, you should be able to gain some pretty good traction on your books. I mean, I have a good collection, and so Earth's Galactic History. Where do you think I don't want to give up anything on the book, but where do you think this phenomena is coming from? I mean, is it? I'll let you. I have theories, but go ahead. What's yours?
So to my amazement, after so many years involved in this research, it's coming from a lot of places, guys. It's not, people who are new to this topic think that it's one group of extraterrestrials that are visiting us. And I do believe that they are coming from space. I don't know a lot about the different dimensions, but they could be, of course, interdimensional. We're hearing about, but I do believe they're coming from out of space, whereas some people don't necessarily think that. I believe it because we've gotten signals from out of space, which I'll get into that. But I also believe that they are here on the planet, and I'm not just crazy. I mean, we know about the underwater submerged objects, the USOs, so they're here, they're under there. I believe that given everything we're looking at, they're all around, always have been. So to answer your question, they're all around us, even in, living inside of the earth, which is another subject. So they're everywhere. Where are they coming from? Different worlds, different planets, different areas of Earth. It seems to be some kind of convergence that's about to happen, if you ask me. And I'm just so shocked to find that there are so many areas that have extraterrestrials that we didn't even know about, and that most people still don't know about. You know, if you ask your average person, you talk about an alien, they're going to think it's a gray alien, you know. Or you ask the next person about a UFO, and they think about the tic tacs. There's more going on than the tic tacs and gray aliens. So, you know, a lot of this is shocking to some people. You and I the three of us have our hands in this information a lot, right? But not my neighbor next door. So that's the whole idea of my book. It's kind of a primer to get information to people. It covers a variety of topics on the subject.
What do you think about Antarctica? Do you think there's areas there we're not supposed to fly over and it's prohibited? And, you know, we know about Project Paperclip and, you know, Admiral Byrd, and, you know, there was a place where these things are flying out. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely, I'm not an expert on Antarctica like some people, but I do think there's something going on up there. I think there's a lot of secrets. I do believe that, you know, from my research, can't prove any of it. It looks like there's a base up there. It looks like there may be ETs working with humans up there. There's too much secrecy to be going on for something to not be happening. Yes, I think there may be ETs up there that are secretly working. And more. From my understanding, they are finding things, you know, all the time under the ice. And according to one story, there was something they discovered that was, they thought, extraterrestrial, that wasn't pleasant. So I don't know. That's just my limited take on Antarctica.
Does your husband believe in this stuff?
Yeah, so you know that's what's interesting. I know he believes in it because of me, because I've told him about it and I talk about it, but I don't spend a lot of detail on it. He's a businessman. He's got a lot going on. He's very busy. But yes, he does believe in it. We don't engage in deep discussions on it because life is just too busy all the time for him to. But he's just letting me handle it.
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
bring him the information. But yeah, no, he is a believer. He is a believer. I just wish we would talk a little bit more about it. That's all.
Yeah. My girlfriend thinks me and Doug are nuts.
Yeah.
And so does your wife.
My wife thinks that too. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, my wife's actually been to a couple of MUFON meetings, and it hasn't gotten any better with her going there either.
She's done the podcast.
She comes on the podcast and we talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. She did. Have you heard of the story, The Secret Journey to Planet Serpo?
Yeah.
Where we sent 12 people in an exchange program. Constance, have you heard of that?
Wasn't that 70s?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I'm not an expert in that, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, people generally haven't. I mean, we told the whole story on probably over several
Great episodes, actually.
And we actually went through the book and commented on it. You know, plagiarized the book pretty good. But it's, you know, she's a trooper. Let's put it that way.
Good.
You know,
Good. At least he supports you. Some people, you know, have spouses that don't support them. My husband supports anything that I do or talk about. You know, he's just really busy.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of discussion, but he knows we're out there. He's told our family, you know, when we have the Senate hearings, I'm very close to his mom and sister, brother-in-law, and nephew. I'm with them all the time, but I don't think they understand what I'm doing. They try, so he broke it down for them once, and he talked about the Senate hearing, and he said, you know, the government is having meetings. This is what's going on, so they don't think that I'm a lunatic. Yeah. He broke it down, and said, you know, if the government is doing it, you know, Constance is on to something. So,
yep, they're spending millions of dollars on something. Yeah. That's got to be real.
So for the people who think we're crazy, you know, there are a number of people out there that are having sightings that are in shock, and this is going on all the time. And they're filming UFOs, you know, with there being so many cameras out there now. It's not a big secret, and so there are people driving who are seeing them, whole crowds of people pulling over and shooting pictures or filming pictures of UFOs. And they're shocked because most of us, I feel like, are living in a bubble and we don't see them and we're not looking up. I saw something the other night. I've learned to just look up. All right, look up, people. You might see something. It was Halloween night. There was something in the sky, and my mind kind of went, "Oh, somebody's firing fireworks." And I was like, "Wait, it's not the 4th of July." I
Right.
suppose one thing appear in the sky and move downward, and it was like a second or two. I saw it. It was there, and I thought, "Who's shooting? Fireworks?" It was just one ball. I don't know where it came from and where it went, but it was strange. So my point is, I mean, that may have been something, not a UFO. It's a UFO for me because I don't know what it was.
Right.
But my point is, if you look up, you'll see more. If you're a person who, my God, there are people who are seeing extraterrestrials. All right, they're having encounters. They're out and about, and they will see someone odd or something odd. There's so many cameras out there. So I think we do need to educate people to the fact that, hey, you could see something. You may not believe it right now, but certainly if you see something, you will, and it's happening to so many people. So,
It usually shocks the people the most that don't believe, and all of a sudden they
Right.
see something, and it really freaks them out. For us, I haven't seen anything. I'd love to see something. It wouldn't. I don't think I'd be freaked out. You never know.
I think I would. I think it'd be freaked
Where
out
do
if
you
we saw
guys
something.
where do you guys live? I
California.
mean, can you
Sacramento,
tell me?
Sacramento
Oh,
area.
yes, Sacramento. Because I know a lot of times if you're near the ocean, you go out there and sit, you just you may see something, right?
Yeah,
You know, you have
we get people on that are on the coast, and they say that there's, especially like the Long Island area, Catalina Island, that kind of thing. There's something going on out there. I went to Catalina Island and spent a couple of days there, and I zip lined down. And the guys that help you and hook you up, make sure you don't get killed. Um, I said, "You ever seen the UFOs?" And he goes, "Oh, we see them all the time. They go into the water." He goes, "We see them. They're orbs."
yeah.
What do you think about the orb phenomenon? To me, I like a traditional, Bob Lazar looking UFO.
Saucer?
Yeah,
Golden
Bob
Angel saucer?
Lazar invented UFO.
Yeah,
Flying saucer.
I talk about all of that stuff in my book. I kind of hit on everything, and I do have different types of UFOs. That's why I personally believe there are more than one group. I can
Same.
imagine one group,
Right.
making triangles, orbs, saucers, square shapes. Some of them are like double saucers. Some of them are like three cylinder shaped, three lights that come together and break apart. I don't believe that's all one group. So the orb, shape or the sphere shaped UFO is just, one of many. I don't have a lot to say about it. But what was interesting is in one of the first hearing, I forget the gentleman's name who testified that they had seen a square shaped UFO with a orb inside of it.
Right. Yeah.
Something like right out of Star Trek Borg. And this thing was over the ocean and it was huge, So that's interesting for me. And I think Doug, you have posted a picture of something like that.
Ryan Graves. Yeah. Ryan Graves
Yeah,
saw the orb or inside of the cube.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, the cube inside of the. Yeah. Yeah, I had a really good picture. It's an AI picture, of course, but it's. I love the AI thing, but it is making things a little complicated because I don't believe any picture I see. So that might,
Maybe it is AI.
yeah, maybe it
Oh,
is.
Okay, I don't know much about AI and I don't know much about CGI, I guess, but I know there are a lot of pictures out there that were created before this stuff became
Yeah.
a
Right.
thing.
Right.
Those are the ones I believe.
Yeah.
The older ones.
So, they
Yeah.
were out there. But everybody doesn't have access to CGI and AI. People are, busy. They're trying to live their lives and do their work. People aren't sitting around saying, I mean, not so many, I'm going to create a hoax.
Yeah.
People have a lot of time on their
I
hands,
agree.
Constance. I don't know. They could be
Okay.
inventing
But,
a lot of things.
Well, go back and look at some of those pictures
That's right.
and information that occurred before these became a thing.
That's right. When I was, I've had sightings since I was 10, and I still continuously have sightings. And I remember being 10 years old, getting really stuck in it. That's because of sightings I had. And then around the late 70s to the 90s, there were so many great videos back then that they didn't have CGI, they didn't have AI, they didn't have, Photoshop, any of this stuff. And that's really what pulled me in. Now it's harder to tell, like Doug said, with AI and all these Photoshops and stuff. So
You see stuff because you're a musician, you know that.
that's AI. And
Did you know that, Constance?
drugs.
If you're a musician, you're
On
more
drugs.
apt to see things.
Yeah, that's
Really? I
yeah.
did not know that.
Wait,
Okay.
are you a musician, Constance? Do you play an instrument?
I do, well, no, I sing a little bit, but I mean, I don't,
That's
no, I
music.
play an instrument.
Singing's music.
Yeah,
You know.
it is.
Have you seen anything?
Um,
Well, like you said, you saw something the other night. But have you ever seen anything else?
when I was a kid, I saw something, I was writing with my mom, I told the story because to this day, I can't figure out what the heck that was. Yeah, I was riding in the back seat it had to be the early 70s. And it was, we were going to the pharmacy and it was night and we were passing over a bridge in Alexandria, Virginia. And to the right was, you could see the lights from a city called Alexandria, and in the sky, there was something there. And it was it was saucer shaped, but it almost looked double. In my memory, my vague memory, so the kid, it looked like a double saucer and it had these lights that were flashing. And I remember thinking to myself, I wonder if that's one of those things. And I was, I must have met UFOs, and I remember the thought, but I couldn't tell my mother, who was a very nervous driver, so I was not allowed to talk. And we were just passing by the thing, and I'm like, and I have, I've had that memory all these years, like, since I've gotten into this work, I'm like, well, what was that? It was hovering. It was hovering. Helicopters, airplanes don't hover, and blimps of that time weren't that shape and all lit up. I don't know.
Was it quiet? Was there any noise behind it?
No noise.
Then it wasn't a helicopter.
No, it wasn't anything that I can, put my finger on. I can still see it pretty vaguely in the lights in my head, and there were, different lights. And I was like, so now I was like, what was that? So to me, that was a UFO. I've seen other things in the paranormal, but that's another show.
Oh no, you can talk about it now.
We have
to do a paranormal show where I've had all these experiences. They weren't extraterrestrial, but now we know that they could have been. Things, lights and things moving and all of this. You think going up that it's a ghost, but maybe it was something else.
They could be tied in.
Yeah,
I
they
think
could
they're
be tied
in.
together.
I think they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we go to our MUFON meetings, we're not allowed to talk about anything, but
we're going to change that.
Yeah, we're not supposed to change. We're talking about Bigfoot or. But we do Bigfoot and ghosts and things. But it's kind of funny. A couple days ago, I have Ring cameras around the house. And I had my backyard cam picked up a picture of it was an orb, probably about, I'd say 3 feet in width, and it was just rising from my pool area and just going up slowly into the air. But I don't know what it was. It went more.
It's translucent too.
It was translucent. You could see through it. So it was bizarre. So I don't know. I have no idea what that was. It's very intriguing.
Orb.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
well,
I don't know.
Like I said, with all the cameras out there, people are picking things up now. So they need to come forth, whoever's concealing information, before people start having a heart attack when they start seeing more in the sky. More and more UFOs are showing up in the sky. Why? Apparently they want us to know them. Yeah. And at some point, when they get the the green light, when they get the green light, they are going to make, I think, a more mass appearance. So that the whole world will know that they are there. But I think there is some sort of timeline that they have. People think that the government are covering up a lot of information, and they are. But I don't know that the government are the ones controlling the time as to when the whole Earth is going to know that we are not alone in the universe. It could be the extraterrestrials handling this, And I imagine that there are galactic hierarchies out there that are used to perhaps dealing with different worlds. We're not the only ones. We are a young species of people, a race of people, and we're still growing, and we're just coming into this knowledge. The galactic hierarchies out there, who may be operating different sectors of the galaxy or whatever, I think have a hand in this, have a hand in the timelines, and they're used, I was going to say, they're used to different worlds growing. This is our coming into this knowledge isn't new for them, I think. And I think that they're going through some kind of prep operation for us. I'm trying to say that there are species of extraterrestrial people, how's that?
Yeah.
That could be younger than us on a world in the galaxy, hundreds of years ahead of us, thousands of years, millions of years, even billions of years ahead of us. So whomever is out there in charge have seen this, and they're preparing us. Maybe one way is to start showing themselves more and more gradually. Another way that I feel, and I talk about this in my book, that I feel like they're prepping us is even through our media and our science fiction, all right? And getting us used to the idea of not being alone in the universe. So,
Well, I like that theory. I don't know. There's so many different. I think there's so many different species, and different methods, like you said, interdimensional, and they come from the different medias, or whatever they call it. The ocean.
Yeah, mediums.
So, what are some of the things that your book touches on, as far as how you went about writing it?
well, trying to do a history and a primer, and there's so much information and trying to put it in, I decided to just touch a little bit on so many different subjects. So I started with chapter 1, which is Earthrise, I called it. And I got that title from a photograph taken by the astronauts. Yes, I believe that we went to the moon. I know some people don't, but I do. So
That was my next question.
Yeah, but people think that because I wrote a moon book that I'm supporting NASA. No, I would just want to say very quickly. I didn't need the astronauts' information
Right.
to write a book about who or what's on the moon. We had that information before they ever went up. So that's just a side note. But I do believe that we went. And I won't make this about the moon, so I won't go into all the details. But, if you read my first book, you'll understand why I think so. So anyway, they had taken a picture of Earth from the moon, and they called it Earthrise. So that's where I got the name of the chapter. And so how is Earth connected to extraterrestrials? From that chapter, I talk about how Earth, and it's a theory, of course, may have been terraformed by extraterrestrials, that life may have been brought here by extraterrestrials, and that ETs may have had a hand in our creation. Now, so I go into the idea of panspermia, the idea that extraterrestrials send out seeds into the galaxy, and to see where intelligent life may land, and or I talked about directed panspermia, that they chose Earth and terraformed it for a reason. That's directed panspermia, and then brought in all of the life. And that, anyway, that's what chapter 1 is about. It's kind of interesting, I thought, to get into that.
Do you think the moon's hollow? We probably talked about this last time.
I think we do.
You think it's hollow?
I do think the moon is hollow, and NASA came out with a statement way back when they crashed what's called the ascent stage from the the ship, sorry, the lunar module.
Yeah.
That the astronauts, when they crashed this into the moon, it reverberated. And they came out with a statement and said, the moon rang like a bell, it reverberated, and it shouldn't be doing that. That means, it's hollow, but we really don't want to talk about it. That was a statement that they made. This wasn't a hoax that someone made up. All right, that happened. And it shouldn't have been shaking, So that was just one little thing of evidence that the moon is hollow. But yeah, I believe it's hollow. I believe there's someone in there. I think there is a generation. If you look at the research, there may be a generation of extraterrestrials that reside there. When I say generation, I mean they've been there. The moon was brought in. It's a theory. Some call it a spaceship that was sent across the universe with a generation of extraterrestrials that have been living there for a long time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I like that theory. It's too perfect. The moon's too perfect. When it has an eclipse, it covers the sun exactly. What are the odds that could happen?
Yeah, the billions to one or whatever, 1 in a billion, they say.
Yeah, I don't even think you put a number on it.
Yes, but you
Yeah.
know what? Someone, one theory is that the placement of the sun and the moon during an eclipse is a sign from the extraterrestrials waiting for us to grow so that we would actually understand the chances of that happening are, like we said, not very good. And that someone created it like that. And that was to let us know that there is, that we're not alone in the universe. Someone said that could just be a sign, the way that's all set up and the way it all lines up. And that's exactly what we've come to, that conclusion, that the moon can't be a natural satellite, but someone placed it there and they were waiting for us to figure that out. And we're getting closer to understanding these things, which means I think it's going to be them getting closer to revealing themselves.
Well,
But anyway,
we figured it out. They can tell us, right? Come on, just give us a better sign, like show up. Yeah, I don't know. Now they talk about. Well, I need to talk about. I don't get off track. And so that's chapter 1.
yeah, it's a lot. It's 12 chapters, guys. So I'll just kind of
Just overviews. Yeah, we don't want to give it away either. Really, too much.
Human Origins is chapter 2, which talks about whether or not extraterrestrials had a hand in our creation. I get into that. That is a big thing. Whether or not we are even sentient AI, that we were created, to maybe be AI that, biological AI, I want to say, and I don't know much about it, but I did put it in there because it was an interesting theory that we could have been created for reasons unknown, and we became sentient beings, and they left us on our own.
Yeah, well, the Neanderthals, I mean, the way we evolved is crazy because at a certain point it went a different direction.
Right.
And it seems like other DNA was introduced to make us what we are today.
Right. Why did they do that? That would be the question. And so the theory is, maybe we were created to assist them, help them, that we be sentient and aware, and they, let us go.
Slaves.
Right.
Slaves.
But I have to throw this in there really quick. So I have a couple of theories in there that talk about how we are not from Earth. That one theory, and I call it the colonization one hypothesis, is that we started on another planet and came here because maybe our planet went nova or whatever, the sun went nova, and we had to escape. Maybe there was a political issue. Who knows what goes on in other worlds, right? And we had to escape, and Earth was a place that fit humanity the closest. And so we came here, for whatever reason, and colonized Earth. That, the idea that we may be the extraterrestrials and that we may be on Earth, we may just be guests on Earth. We're talking about doing the same thing with the moon and Mars, colonizing and going further out. Maybe someone did that with Earth. Maybe we had to escape, or maybe getting a little confused. The second hypothesis is that we came here. We came here from a planet to explore the universe and colonize. That was one hypothesis. And the other was that we had to escape. Now, there's an author by the name of Elliot Silver who wrote a book, and the title is Humans Are Not From Earth. something like that.
Mhm.
And he goes down a list of all of the reasons why we don't fit this planet.
Right.
So
And
we came to Earth, and then now we've ruined it. So now we got to go somewhere else.
right,
You know,
I've heard that before, that the way we're developed, like it gets cold, we don't have enough fur to sustain in certain parts of this planet. So I've heard that before, that we were brought here or
yeah,
colonized here, and that there's things, a lot of the animals on the planet are adapted for Earth, whereas we aren't. I mean, we kind of, if we did grow with, Bigfoot with a bunch of fur, can handle, the cold. We can't. We need clothes. So I've heard that before too.
yeah, we don't fit. I think the sun is too much for us.
Right.
Our eyes don't work well. We
Yeah.
have problems in childbirth. Our body breaks down
Yeah.
to the point where our backs have all this
Gravity.
problems.
Gravity's
Yeah.
not our friend.
for sure.
And I found this to be interesting. This wasn't in the book, but somewhere along the line, someone said, "We don't even know what to eat."
Right. Right.
We just got to make stuff that's horrible for us.
Yeah, right. That is so true. We barely know what to freaking eat, or vitamins.
I know it's just because I've been on Earth. It's a huge controversy. Meat, no meat,
Yep.
veggies, no veg. I don't know.
It's like we were dropped here, and they're like, "Okay, figure it out. See you later."
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I think we are the aliens on this planet.
So I go into we're doing not so bad on time. I can get through this. Extraterrestrials from the ancient past. So I was trying to show people that we have been visited since ancient times, and as we've all heard, the stories of the gods are true.
Yeah.
I mean, we refer to them as gods because primitive humans didn't understand what they were seeing, and the extraterrestrials came in here to educate us and to help us to grow, and understand how to live on this planet. That is another thing, a theory, because for whatever reason, if we weren't dropped here, we were dropped here and left alone. We didn't know what to do. Anyway, ETs did come in and help. That's a thought. But so I go into how on some of the ancient writings and the cave drawings, you can see beings that look like they are in spacesuits and helmets, other beings that look like the Greys. There's one drawing out of, I think it might have been India. You have to look at my book, it's so much information, where you could see saucer with extraterrestrials in the top, and they are chasing a herd of animals. And they have a weapon in their hand, and I don't know what they were doing. It looked like they were trying to hurt them or whatever. Maybe they were trying to abduct them. But that is a cave drawing, all right? And it goes back way into ancient times. So I get into that in my book. Who were they? Why were they here? What were the main populace or cultures that were visited? We know Egypt was one of them. I go into the detail of the pyramids and some of the things that they've discovered. Egypt, by the way, was lit. I call it lit. It was not like what we picture it today with the dirty, sandy.
Yeah, it was good jungle. Yeah.
These things were covered, these things were beautiful. And there's an idea that they had electricity. Where would electricity have come from? If it weren't given to them or shown.
There's a theory that the pyramids weren't actually built by the Egyptians.
Right.
It was actually built
way
many thousands of years before they
just
occupied that area.
Yeah, they just claimed them.
That they used them or whatever, for their purposes, but that they were already there. And you can see the top of one of the largest ones there's been water. You can tell that it was underwater almost to the top of the pyramid. Only the tip, looks like a snow cap.
Right.
Yeah, it's really intriguing to think about that.
Yeah, who were they?
Who did that?
Did all of the
Egyptians didn't cut those stones and bring them there from the quarry that's up the river.
Really hard to explain though.
Yeah, it's real hard.
It's a stretch. Some of them.
Yeah.
I cover the oceans. The oceans was my first chapter of this book because I just got it's a subject that's very close to my heart. And I don't know why. I'm just so drawn to it. So there's been something going on in our oceans for centuries, and someone is down there. I think I take the book starting that chapter. I talk about Christopher Columbus seeing he and his crew of the three ships seeing lights coming down
Yeah.
and hitting the ocean and going beneath the waters. So it's been going on for quite a while, and it's going on today. And people are surprised to hear this, but there have been cruise ships with people standing on board that have seen lights go under the water right past them. There have been civilians seeing lights, not seeing USOs coming and hitting the water and submerging. This is a thing. There have been people in shock who saw it, people standing on beaches who have seen things moving in the water. Russia declassified a document. Well, a lot of people know this story where they had divers that tried to capture beings in the ocean. I mean, that was something.
Yeah.
That's out there. I don't think Russia's lying or playing a hoax, right? So this has been going on a while, and I cover that. I talk about the inner Earth, guys, where I believe that there is a civilization down there. They could and there may be more than one. Because I think that extraterrestrials would hide in our oceans, but I also think that they could have a base inside of Earth. Maybe it is connected to Antarctica up there. Maybe there's a base up there, but also in Earth. We either have extraterrestrials or what I call intraterrestrials, people that have been growing beside us, humanity on the surface. They've been growing inside the Earth. And I talk about a story where a man made it, not Byrd, although he's one of them. Admiral Byrd did go inside, but this is someone else. And he went inside, he and a team, and they discovered these ETs, are these people, and they said they've been down there since our ancient times. And when they arrived, they discovered ancient technology. There was nobody there, but there was a technology. So that was weird and interesting. So I do believe someone is down there. I don't believe people make up all these stories, And we have seen there's footage of extraterrestrials leaving volcanoes and mountain areas, and where are they coming from? If not beneath not extraterrestrial UFOs. Sorry, where are they coming from if they aren't inside, hollow Earth?
Right.
So,
Have you heard of the extraterrestrial theory?
the what?
Extraterrestrial.
No.
That's the one that's going to be maybe a new one for you. It's actually these things. One version of the things we're seeing, that beings are actually us from the future. That we've evolved.
Okay.
We've evolved into looking like that over thousands of years, and they're coming back to visit.
Yeah.
Looking like the gray aliens, you mean?
Yeah.
That's actually what we turn into, and they're coming back for some.
Yeah,
and they're attacking the nuclear facilities because we're going to destroy ourselves if we're not careful. It's not looking any better today than it was in 47.
Are you saying we're not very smart?
Well, we're not. As a species, we're not. We make a lot of mistakes.
Yes, we do.
I just thought I'd bring that up in case you haven't heard of it before.
No, I didn't know the word, but I do know that theory, which is kind of contradictory when it comes to me, because I hear that we're under protection. That there have been things like asteroids moved so that Earth wouldn't hurt itself, be hurt. That missiles have been shut down so that we don't blow ourselves up. That extraterrestrials have visited with at least one government, I'm sure there's more, the US government, and told us that they're not going to let us, destroy all life on this planet. I've heard that. So I'm hoping that, maybe it's a different timeline. One of these is a different timeline.
So they're treating us like children that are playing with matches.
Yeah, well, they said that there's a domino effect. When we do that here, there are repercussions, outwards into the galaxy. So, and yeah, they're treating us like children, like, we are a young species compared to them. They don't think we know what the heck we're doing. And they're trying to, prepare us and educate us. But they can only apparently do so much. Apparently, there's something like time directive out there.
You
Yeah.
think that if we got into a nuclear situation with like Russia or China, you think they would stop that?
Yeah,
You do?
I think that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm just, I'm a researcher writer, but I can only give you
Right.
my opinion. Now, I think that I've written in one of my chapters on ancient past where there were wars where ETs did come down and they did try to interfere. I mean, they had like saucers or whatever trying to separate warring factions, right? I know that. And like I said, in modern day, they disarmed missiles. So yeah, they said they're not going to allow it. They said they're not going to allow all Earth. Now, they said life on Earth, that means humanity or everything.
Right.
So yeah, I think they interfere. And by the way, there have been sightings of UFOs throughout history during wartime, including Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, Foo
And
Fighters.
I've also heard, and these are just other people's writings that have channeled. That one idea is that they may come down and try to lift off as many people as they can. Have you heard this? Lift off as many people as they can to get on ships so that they can try and save as much of humanity as possible.
Right.
That is something that came out in someone's channeling session.
So we can go to another planet and do it all over
Yeah.
again.
No, I think the idea was
They might have already done that. Oh, look at all the people
Right?
missing.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, we had a guest, Gemma Jade. I don't know if you've heard of her. We had her on last week, and she writes about how the missing people. So many people go, hundreds of thousands of people
Yeah.
go missing. Well, about 1% of them don't ever get found.
Yeah, and in weird situations too, where they're just gone.
And there's a few thousand that are bodies that are discovered that we can't we don't, they're unidentified. You don't know who they are. I mean, in this day and age, that it's interesting that could still be happening.
Yeah.
So something's going on with that. That's something I believe about that. Maybe they're just taking us to another place because we've ruined this one,
Yeah.
right?
Wouldn't that be nice, guys? We could, kind of get off of here.
Yeah, right.
That's an interesting show. I'm going to have to listen in on that one because I wonder about all of those people disappearing too and where they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where is it? Where are they going?
Yeah.
So what else you got? Are we on number 4? Are we on chapter 4?
Yeah, chapter 6.
No, 6. Okay.
We are not alone. Signs, signals, messages, and clues. So I talked about some things that have gone on where apparently, there are extraterrestrials who have tried to reach us. Now, the CIA has declassified documents, and one of them on UFOs, not all, of course, but one of them talks about signals that were received back in the 60s, and you can go to my book and look that one up, that they received from out of space. So that's why I think people say, no, they're not from outer space, they're from the oceans. No, they're from both. That's why when I started this show, I said they're all over, because they have signals from out there. All right. The Russians had a story in their files that they declassified that they had received a signal that they traced somehow back to ancient times. And by the time we were, by the time we got the signal, we were still with the the times that the cave people are, or something like this. It was early for us when the signal was sent, and this was a dying world, and the people were asking for help. The Russians put that in their file. We can assume they thought it was true because it was there. It's very interesting. But also, I think one of the biggest things are the crop circles, because we've got two that I have in my book. People think that they are man-made. There's just no way in heck that they are. There are, they're not even circles anymore. They're formations that go, several football sizes across and pop up overnight.
Yeah.
And one of them had a message from ETs. It was a picture of an ET with a disc. And I thought it was a hoax when I first saw this thing. I thought, okay, someone created it. But I learned later that they had done a documentary on it. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a warning to us to be careful who we trusted. And then there was another one that answered a message we sent out. We sent out a message called the Arecibo signal. You know about that one? Yeah. And that one was answered through a crop circle. These ETs got the signal and then answered us and told us that they were, how many people were on their planet, what they were made of, and just, answered the questions that we had sent out. So there have been ETs that have been trying to reach us. And I go into that in sign signals, messages, and clues. I talk about what I call the cosmic freeway. How are extraterrestrials coming here with all of these ships when, we know it would take thousands and thousands and thousands of years to come across the galaxy or the universe. And scientists maintain that. And it drives me a little crazy because they're saying there's no way ETs can be coming because of the distance, but they're here. We're seeing ships all the time. So instead of trying to figure it out, at least they're not telling us that they are, they just say, no, it can't be happening. Well, I would like for one of them to come across a UFO. Anyway, I call it the cosmic freeway. I think they're using portals, stargates, and wormholes. And this is not an idea that hasn't come up with NASA. NASA has a place on its website where it talks about us possibly doing that in the future. I think someone out there has already learned to have this technology, and that's how the ETs are traveling.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shall I continue?
You can.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Please do.
Okay.
I'm trying not to interject because I know we're running out of time. I could drag this thing out for hours.
Come on, I can shorten it. Interject all you want.
No, we can run out. Don't worry. I mean, it doesn't have to. If we run over a little bit, it's fine.
Next bonus.
I've got. Well, you have something to do. Do you have an appointment?
Yeah, but it's after 10:30.
Okay. All right.
I'm good.
Oh, we're good.
Okay, so from elsewhere, extraterrestrials among us. So there was a book that came to my life way back when, and it was called literally From Elsewhere. I kind of stole that title because I love the book so much. It wasn't, I'd say From Elsewhere, Extraterrestrials Among Us. It was only called From Elsewhere, but this book was about people who feel that they have come in to this life from another world, that they were born in with a mission. So I personally believe there are people like that. I believe we all come in for missions here from the other side. That's another show I'd love to come on and talk about. But one of them are ETs coming in from another world. And so I believe there are people who are born in with this mission. But I also believe that given what we have learned about extraterrestrials, that they could come in all sizes, shapes, colors, and they could also be invisible. We could have ETs walking among us right now, just observing us, taking notes, sending them back, to their worlds or whatever. And there are also extraterrestrials that people have said they have come across that look so much like us, you wouldn't know. So we could be having humanoids among us, humanoid ETs, and we wouldn't know. And also extraterrestrials that are under a hologram to shield their appearance among us. I think those things could be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do they use for credit cards? How do they eat?
I didn't want to tell the story because, it's a funny
I don't want to debunk your theory, but they have a job.
They have connection with the banks.
Yeah, they just get money because that's what we're doing. We're
Yeah,
just spending
we
money.
just make it up anyway.
Just give them a pile of hundreds.
Yeah, we make up money.
So you can't believe everything you hear out there.
Yeah, right.
So interesting.
I believe everything I hear.
No, stop.
I don't know what's. I'm. It's far be it for me to say something isn't
True.
true because I don't know.
Open your mind.
Yeah, I'm open to anything.
Same.
Yeah.
There's a guy on TikTok.
Yeah.
I get the TikTok and the TikTok. Call it an age thing. Anyway, so he was on TikTok, and we can't prove this stuff, but he looked pretty upset. So he made this video, and he said he was standing in Home Depot. You can't make this stuff up. He was a young man. He was standing in Home Depot, and he had turned around, and somehow he saw a part of someone's face change, and he said it looked like a lizard or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the lizard, yeah. The
Right?
reptilian. The reptilians, yeah.
And I don't know what happened or how they're shielding themselves, if this is true. But whatever it was came down for a second, and he saw the look in the guy's face, and he goes, you know what, I'm just trying to make a living out here just like anybody else. Just,
Yeah.
just trying to.
I'm doing my lizard business. Just leave me alone.
That wouldn't bother me at all.
No.
So your face turned into a lizard.
Like,
No problem.
that's got lizard.
Probably wouldn't look me in the eye like most of the Home Depot employees.
You have to think about this, though. I mean, how many times have we heard that somebody saw something weird?
Right.
And it didn't look like, just someone. I mean, he didn't seem crazy. He seemed really upset.
He's upset about it. Yeah.
Remember
trying to tell us what's going on.
That whole Las Vegas thing was some people, or a person saw something weird and, everything shifted over to that direction.
Oh, those guys in that compound.
Yeah. No, the tractor in the backyard.
Yeah, they have a little compound.
Yeah, that's right.
Had all their tractors and stuff.
The police got scared and bolted because they saw,
Yeah, the police actually said, "Don't. If you see it again, don't call us.
Don't call us.
Coming back."
Yeah. I'm having donuts and coffee. Leave me the F alone.
Well, you know what? That's the whole thing about educating people. So if I saw something, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
Okay, if I saw came across an ET with all the information about ETs, and not just ETs, but cryptids out there. There's a lot going on, and we don't know where all this stuff is coming from, and that's another show. And I'm very interested in that topic. I haven't written on it, but we don't know where they're coming from. But if I saw one, I know enough about it that I wouldn't be shocked. In fact, sometimes when we're riding down the street at night in the dark, I'm like, hell crawler,
Right.
hell crawler can come across the highway, and that wouldn't shock me. But it would shock some other people, and I know these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really something.
I love cryptids.
Yeah, it's
Where
fascinating.
they're coming from, guys.
Yeah.
Are they being kicked here? Are they from inner Earth?
Right. There's so many different types too, and so many
Yeah.
visuals. We can talk all day about cryptids.
And which ones of those are ETs? Anyway.
Right. Right.
Extraordinary experiences in space. I did get into the astronauts, what they experienced out there, what they saw in that, and I got into other astronauts as well. There is one story of a astronaut on a space shuttle who witnessed in the back of the shuttle one of the other men on the crew talking to an extraterrestrial, and he said this thing was dressed in a suit as well, but he could see it wasn't a non-human person. And again, I don't think that astronauts are making up stories and are hoaxing us. All right, and these were not the Apollo astronauts, for those who don't believe we went up. And he made that story public, but because nobody believes it, it doesn't get a lot of attention.
Right.
People just either they don't know it, they don't hear it, or they don't care, or just think, oh, he's crazy. So I went into some details in my book about those guys out there, things they've seen in space, things the Russians encountered. It's very interesting. The Battle for Earth is chapter 11. Is there a battle for Earth? I think there may be. Now, there are different kind of battles, right? We have, excuse me, possibly extraterrestrials out there that would like to get a hold of Earth for its resources. And in my limited opinion, my limited knowledge, I think we're being protected. People don't like it when I say that. They don't want to hear there may be good extraterrestrials. But, let's just face it. They're not here for nothing. There could be more than one reason for them coming. Earth apparently has a lot here that others might want, such as water. We've heard stories about UFOs being seen by civilian people lifting water off of Earth. All right. Why are they taking it? Maybe to study, maybe they need it, but it is a thing that has happened several times. And there are things they've seen in the bottom of some of the oceans where holes have been placed. They can't figure out what these things are. There's an antenna, which I talk about in one of the oceans. They're not understanding what that is. I think they're around. And they may be, there may be a thing about Earth that some of them may want, and we may be protected from that, I think. Also, sorry.
I just have to say, I'm not a big fan of I think we're being protected. I do agree with that, but from ourselves, not necessarily from anything else. But I'm not a fan of the stolen resource theory. And the reason I say that is because all these resources that we have on Earth, there's water in other places.
It's all over.
There's minerals and every asteroid, and other planets, and they would have access to many planets. And I don't know why they want to bother with us humans here, slicing things up and getting in the way.
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty rich with all kinds of
Could
things.
happen. Like I said, I'm open to anything. That's just not one that I'm.
There's many sightings of what she's saying where there is saucers over water, taking water, distributing water. That's got to be something. That's true.
It could be that they're in the vicinity and they use it for something.
Maybe they're charging up a ship, or
they're here, and that kind of thing.
Making popsicles.
Not really for the resource itself, because they're using it and they're in the area for
Not that they're technically
they're
stealing
converting it to something.
Popsicles
To be used, popsicles. Yeah.
Popsicles.
Orange.
And there's a battle, like we talked about, to save us from ourselves. That can be a battle for Earth, you know?
Yeah.
I'd like to think that they are saving us or helping us. And I know there's people out there that don't believe that. We should always be wary of anything we don't know anything about. So we don't know their intent. We don't know, us over a hierarchy of other animals on the planet, we don't always have great intent for them. So I don't know if we want to assume that something with a hierarchy in the galaxy is going to have good intent for us. But if they're saving it, then he's right. I think that we need to save us from ourselves.
So you're saying they're treating us like we treat cows?
We may possibly. We have to. We can't assume they're not. Unless they prove otherwise.
Well, yeah, there is that one theory where there's one species.
That's right.
I don't know if it's the reptilians, but which you should be concerned about, the one in Home Depot, because they eat people. It's just looking for something that's good to eat. That's kind of a scary one. I mean, that's science.
I think that's not a thing.
So you're saying we could be harvested?
You could be harvested.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of that business down in South America, where they're underdeveloped countries. And when somebody goes missing, it's like, I guess a tiger ate him. They don't even think about it.
Yeah.
They don't
necessarily.
And somebody goes, it's all kinds of theories about that.
Ugh, I don't like that theory at all.
Right. It's like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. That's not very fun.
No, that's scary. But yeah.
What else you got? What's the next one?
Galactic hierarchies. Are we, are there people out there, ETs out there, that are in charge of, parts of the galaxy, or that are in charge of new species, placing new species on Earth of regulating the universe. Like, for example, the cosmic freeway, I don't believe it's just a willy-nilly thing. I believe there's someone who created it who's in charge of it. Just like we have freeways on Earth, I believe that someone is responsible for that. Are we someone's real estate, these galactic hierarchies, like, we've heard of the Galactic Federation, the Ashtar Command, the Council of Nine, which I think is now called the Council of Eight. What are they doing? Who are they? Why are they? And are they really responsible for what's going on here? So I talk about them, I get into that. And all of them, from my understanding, are benevolent. And it was interesting for me because I was watching the news one night a couple of years ago, and there was an author by an Israeli author by the name of Chaim Eshed. I believe that's how you pronounce it, I hope. Who said in his book that he wrote that he's older and he's decorated, he's had his career, and he was going to come out with this information. He said, we have people on Mars working with the Galactic Federation, and the Galactic Federation doesn't want us to know because they said we're not ready yet. So I spun around, I was cooking, the news was going, and I couldn't believe that they had outed the Galactic Federation, which I heard of 30 years ago. So I believe that they are out there. Here's someone who brought it up. The name Galactic Federation keeps coming up, and I think that they are one of the hierarchies working closest with Earth. And I believe that they may be just responsible for that timeline of when we are going to know as a worldwide society that we are not alone in the universe.
How bad does it have to get before they really get involved? I mean, really, look what goes on here.
Yeah, nuclear war.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the verge. It feels like we're on the verge of nuclear war every couple months.
We have been.
And,
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, well, we won't get into the political aspect of it. I'll get myself in trouble.
Yeah, stop it.
But
We don't really need someone to tell us that we're not alone in the universe anymore. There's enough proof and evidence today
yeah, I agree.
to know that. So we don't need to have this big revelation and disclosure. We just need to decide on our own whether or not we want to believe it or not. They are disclosing it slowly. That's me.
It's already disclosure's really happening.
It's confirmation. Disclosure's done.
I don't know how much more we have to do with these hearings and everything. We know what's happening. All that's left is to drag out the ETs and the ET bodies
and point at them. See,
and the ships and somebody has a part of it. The last part I saw was somebody had a fingernail size. Yep, that's part of the ship that from a crash recovery. It's like I want to see a panel.
I want Gary Nolan.
I want to see something, a large piece. What's something. But now they say you don't want to get close to them because they're harmful biological problems we have when we get close to the ships. Some of them, not all of them.
Some of them. I mean, there are people who've been aboard them, right?
Right. So how bad are they? Right. Exactly. If you're out in front of the exhaust, you're probably going to have some problems, which I've heard a few.
Yeah. It's the exhaust pipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Don't go near it.
No.
Cool. What chapter are we on?
I think that's it. That is it.
Good. Well, that's perfect timing.
Heck yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on.
What's the book again?
Oh, yeah, you got Earth's Galactic History.
That's right.
And where can we find it? Where can everybody find it?
Show it to you. If you don't have a picture.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, I should have had a picture of it.
I need to get that.
Amazon?
That's a great cover, too.
Amazon. One of my favorite things to write, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great cover, too.
You got another book? You're working on another book?
I'm working on a book about the ocean and what's going on down there.
Perfect.
I couldn't all in one chapter, but I have to tell you, I couldn't get into everything that too. There was some interesting stuff in this chapter, but I'm working on that.
Yay.
Cool. Well, we'll wrap it up. Constance, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I enjoyed talking to you guys.
Great. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. Welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit on Facebook, Check out our website, Alien Pro Pod, Twitter and Instagram at Alien Pro Pod, YouTube and Rumble. And we're on all popular podcast platforms. You can find us anywhere.